So what we have currently is a huge crisis amongst young people, and the number to have in people's head is something like this. I would say that 10% of young women, say around 22, 23 or so, report that every day of their lives is a bad mental health day. That was not true. That was not true 10 years ago. That's not true of the vast majority of people. It's not true of people my age, but it is true of young people. And that's something that's transformed itself. So we're faced with a situation at schools and at universities and so on, where 10%, that's a rough number to have in here, slightly less for boys. But we have 10% of young people who say they're really unhappy. The vast majority of people say they're fine. So we have to sort of separate. That wasn't true 10 years ago, but it is true now. So happiness is about the sense of well-being, but the sense of unhappiness is obviously a really big deal. And we can talk about its characterizations, but unhappy people, are basically in trouble. So we're worried about them not making the transition from school to work. We're worried about them withdrawing from the labor force. We're worried about them not establishing patterns and relationships and not having good health. So mental health impacts physical health. And we know, for example, happy people live longer. Happy people heal faster. In your work, you must know if you have a good attitude, a good, happy attitude is really healing. And so what we've got here is transformation. I gave you a long answer, but essentially the data now is clear. And roughly, I would say, if you ask this question, how many of the last 30 days have been bad mental health days? The majority of people say nil. How many days over the last month have been bad mental health? Most people say nil. But there's a lot of people who say every day of my life is bad. And that's the focus we have on all the work we're doing. Is this true? Why has it happened? Has it happened across other countries? But this is, I would say, the #1 crisis, and the US Surgeon General has talked about a crisis of loneliness, unhappiness, but it's not of everybody. It's of this, having people's heads that the 10% of young people are in deep trouble.
Gotcha.